Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to LaserBeam Live. This is episode number 16. If you're joining me, I want to say thank you, whether it's morning, evening, afternoon, or night for you. I appreciate you spending a little time with me. Hopefully everything's good. Let me know in the chat if everything looks good, if everything sounds good. Koala, what's up? Dana, hey, hey, hey. Longer Head Studio, what's up? And Nicholas, what's up? How you guys doing? How's it going for you? Let me know in the chat how everything is sounding, how everything is looking. Just want to make sure we're starting off on the right foot. Okay, while I wait for you guys to talk in the chat, I will talk about what we're doing here today. So, okay, thank you, Kevin. Today, we are going to be taking a look at some of the design aspects for the roller rotary axis. So I've been talking about how I've been prototyping designs and trying to work through kind of what's going to work, or at least have a, hey, Jack in the Box, Laser314, thanks for responding. Nicholas, thanks. Everybody, thanks. Yeah, I just kind of wanted to go over kind of where I'm at with design. I'm very close to having a second version of the working prototype, but as of right now, all I have is a bunch of 3D printed parts and the design. So I think I've told you guys this before, but I use Fusion 360 for my design software. I like it the best. Most of the engineers here use Onshape. Honestly, the workflow when you're working with multiple people with Onshape is great. Not saying that Fusion isn't great. It has great kind of offline and online capabilities, but that's just what I use. It's what I'm most comfortable in. So, yeah, today we're just gonna be going over kind of where I'm at with the design. There's a few key features of the design that I need to figure out before I'm ready to kind of send this over to the other engineers to look over, and then we look at kind of manufacturability, finalize the design, and then start ordering, start testing suppliers and ordering parts in bulk. So yeah, that's kind of it. I just wanted to, if you came kind of wanting a project, I do apologize. We will get back to projects very soon, but I want to kind of have this stream be more multifaceted than just products and projects. So today I want to kind of look into the design aspect. I'm gonna let you right off the bat. I am not the best designer here, so and this is very rough right now. So if you're looking at my Fusion setup, if you're a Fusion user, or you use SolidWorks or Onshape, be nice, okay? Be nice. I know how to get products working. Might not have the best design workflow, but I do know how to get an end result that hopefully you guys will enjoy. So be very nice. You know, I'm a very sensitive man, but yeah, I kind of want to just get into it. Thank you, Dana. I really do like this t-shirt. I usually you take it to the gym, but today we got the stream and nothing goes above the stream, okay? So let's take a look. So right now we're in Fusion. Hopefully this updates. Hopefully we're not dealing with any technical issues. Okay, so at least on my end, I'm not getting the updated image. See if that did anything there. Nope. Sorry, guys. There we go. Everything, okay. We got movement, we're all updated. So yeah, this is kind of the design that I'm kind of working with right now. This is kind of where I'm at with the design, at least. So it's just about finished. There's a few features that I want to include, but I will make a version that works, and then while I'm playing with that in the real world, I'll still be updating the design for these kind of these auxiliary features for the roller rotary axis. So it's a pretty simple design. All these roller these roller rotary axes, they work very similarly. So there's not much that's going to be like drastically different compared to others, except that we're going to make ours very rigid, high quality, and it's going to be reasonably priced. So in terms of the design and kind of where I was thinking, because with the old design, I kind of had two plates that kind of held everything in place. So Laser 314 is asking how wide will it be. So I think I have about 100 millimeters spacings between the two center points here. The motor does not need to be this big, but the longboard controllers are kind of set for the NEMA 23. So that's going to be kind of supply chain. So even if I do end up changing the design or changing the model type of the motor, it's going to be really more about design change. So, and Laser 314, it is, you're going to have 100, you're going to be able to move it between a 10 millimeter space between the center point of your two rollers, and you're going to have about 100, you're going to have 100 millimeters. You could space that out. So these pillars essentially will be able to move. There's going to be a set screw bottom here, so all you have to do is unscrew one on the other, on each side, and then move it over. In terms of length, this I'm making the rollers, I think about 195 millimeters, so 19.5 centimeters. But we will be making this auxiliary kind of piece, which essentially will act, will give you the availability to kind of set that if your piece is longer than the actual 195 centimeter kind of roller width. You're going to be able to set your piece, and then at the ends, you're going to be able to add a this little thing that will come stock, and essentially it'll give you Z adjustability. So let's say you have a wine glass and it's a bit, you know, if you just lay the wine glass on, it's going to tip downwards. You're going to need something that will bump it up, and then also that will act kind of as a lengthening tool, because you will be able to set your material on the actual rollers, and then it will add support. So let's say you were engraving a baseball bat, you'd put like where you want the engraving to be, or you'd kind of set up the center of gravity so that you could have the bulk of the bat on the actual rotary rollers, and then you would have this essentially this support piece that would hold up the bat so that you can keep it straight, and essentially makes allows you to do longer materials, longer items, longer projects. Yeah, so it's going to have kind of two things. So there's going to be, so also this is going to have adjustability in terms of width, and then it's going to have adjustability in terms of height. So if you're using a cylindrical item that's like straight, but it's longer, then you could just set it to the height of the actual rollers, and then you can now extend your capabilities with that. But if you're using something where you need to offset in order to get things flat, like a wine glass, then you also have kind of, you'll be able to adjust the width and the height of this support piece so that you can actually get that done and make it nice and even. So yeah, the main difference between this design and my first design, no, this will not all be 3D printed parts. That's kind of where like the manufacturability aspect comes in. I want to design, I'm just designing my ideal rotary axis, and then certain parts we will have we will get milled out of metal, and certain parts it will be easier to 3D print things. So that's kind of be my design philosophy. So unless we need the rigidity somewhere, I'm going to try to 3D print it. But certain parts will get manufactured, will get milled via metal, and other parts like other materials. So the three things, so that's one, that's the support. The support is obviously a big thing because it now opens the vein of like how long your materials can be when you're using this rotary axis, and then also making sure that you don't need anything to be like flat in order to laser it. We want to be able to laser the odd item. Yeah, quality is always number one. So quality is always number one. So number two is the tensioner. So on my last design, it was a fixed tensioner off this side that essentially helped create a taut belt. Sorry, I think that they're throwing salt or something outside. Kind of scared me for a second. So what we are going to do is what I'm going to do is probably end up adding sliders to the motor mount, right? So we're going to kind of elongate the hole so that you can set the point and you can make things taut. And as things wear, you're going to be able to increase the tautness. But then I also think I will add a tensioning pulley on this side. So I'll essentially end up designing something on this end that will allow, hopefully, an adjustable pulley set. So again, you'll have 2 points to adjust the tension. So over time, tensioning should never be an issue. And because this height stays the same regardless of where it sits, you'll be able to shift one roller back and forth. So you'll be able to make it as tight as, like a few millimeters between the two rollers, all the way up to like, 100 millimeters between the two rollers. So that is kind of number two. And then number three, just to make things easier for you guys at home when you're setting your project. Hey, Bill. Hey, from Alaska. Wooden peg. How you doing? Longhead Studio, I think I already said what up to you. But yeah, so the last part of the design that I'm trying to add right now is almost like a crosshair system. So we want to be able to add a macro so that you can align. Hey, Derek, don't worry about being late. We're just going over the design of this is prototype 2 for the roller axis. So I'm just kind of going over the design and everything like that. So we want you guys to be able to use a macro in order to align things in the X and Y axes. So we didn't really want to, go anything super technical that would essentially overcomplicate the design. We wanted to go something physical, almost like the focus finders, where you can kind of just, have something work physically, set something up, and then you're all good. So I think what we're gonna end up doing is I want to add essentially like almost like a crosshair piece on either end of the frame, like something right here and, maybe something like right here. And so that's kind of where I'm going with that. So I want you guys to be able to set it, like have it be like, hey, you manually set the laser to one of the crosshairs on the frame and you run it. And then it will move to where the second crosshair is supposed to be so that you can kind of align things. Or, we might even do it in a way where, we have an auxiliary, like a secondary piece where you actually pick it up and you kind of align it. You align the frame to the actual router mount, or you align the frame to the actual laser itself, so that you know that in the X and the Y direction of the laser, which is set up to the router mount, which is set up to the Z gantry, which is set up to the X gantry, which is set up to the Y gantry. It should be like a very easy way to align kind of your rotary axis to make sure you're not ever so slightly kind of out of tilt, So Wooden Peg asks, rather than one drive, what would the cost be to add both Y drives so you don't need a tensioner? Honestly, I'm not trying to overcomplicate the design to that level, so I probably would just keep it at one design, just find a really good tensioning. It is a good idea though, and potentially I'll run it by a few people and see what they think. Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking. The auxiliary piece kind of adds more stability going forward, where maybe you line it up to the corner of your router mount, like it's something that you like attach to maybe it attaches to one side here or one side here, and then you essentially just align it to your the corner of your router mount, kind of getting things pretty relatively set in your X and Z axis so that you're like relatively pretty good to go. In terms of that, you won't run into any funky issues where text is coming out diagonally or anything weird like that. So yeah, exactly. So you're kind of, Koala, that's the right idea. So you're kind of like almost like setting home. So with the more expensive full rotary axis, they're going to be using macros in order to actually drill your mounting holes, right? So in that vein, I kind of wanted to do something similar where you kind of have two crosshairs outside of the machine or outside of the frame of the rotary axis, and essentially you line up the first one, it knows like relatively where the first one is to the second one, and then as long as you line up the first one, it will move to the second one, fire so to let you know where it should be, and then if you're off by a little, you could just tune it so that it kind of gets that right in the center, and then you can run it again to make sure that your 2 points are set opposite sides of the actual frame so that you're kind of aligning things in your X and Z that way. It would be simpler just to use something physical that you attach to your frame, you line it up, as long as you did that, you're good to go. Something similar I want to do is probably the midpoint. So that might be a tool, right? So that you can actually set your laser to the midpoint, right? So, I'm not making any design changes right now, but something that maybe comes out from here, kind of goes to the midpoint here, and then, or that sets your midpoint no matter where you are across this line, right? So whether you have your second roller spaced all the way to the max like it is here, or whether you have it closer, I want there to be a way where you can set your zero or essentially set your midpoint so that you don't have to worry about lining things up on the actual object. I would rather you like focus off to this, like I would rather you set your midpoint and then put your project on the rotary so that you don't have to worry about that anymore. But that's kind of just where I'm at right now with the design. So these are, I got the main chunk of it. I do like how it is a little bit, it does simplify this a little bit. I didn't want to do a whole big frame because I don't think it needs that. I wanted to keep things simple and modular. I want replacement parts to be relatively easy to manufacture and easy to replace, right? So if anything goes wrong, I want this to be pretty modular so you can kind of, this comes off with the set screw, I want the assembly to be relatively easy. F8TH01, the new longboard will be it'll be a while. No timeline on it, no guarantee, no pressure on any of the engineers and our CTO Chris working on it. There's no timeline on that. I would not make buying decisions based on it because it is going to be a while till that's ready to be put in production. Yeah, exactly. I like keeping things easy. It keeps the cost down. It keeps things easy to replace and easy to upgrade in the future. Yeah. So again, I'm gonna get to a point where everything works very well, like physically, and then I go and I'm working with the other engineers, and they take a look at my design, and they're more knowledgeable. They'll be like, hey, we can do this out of bent steel. So if we modify this design like this, then we can actually do this out of bent steel, keep it relatively cheap, add rigidity, and it works better. So that's where kind of the other engineers come in, and they can kind of Frankenstein, and we work together to kind of get this design to production level. So for me right now, I just want this to work, and I want it to work well, and then we kind of can fill in making things cheap or making things high quality at the lowest cost possible, and then also kind of making things easy to use. Yeah, bit changer. That's everybody's, You know, these are things that we're just working on, you know, as they come, as they come. But yes, a bit changer would be good. We haven't came down to a material for the roller yet. Right now, I'm kind of just 3D printing them just to get the sizing on everything, getting the fit, and making sure things work. But we will be looking for something, you know, lightweight, rigid, and you know, will be easy, either be made out of the most like the best material to keep the most amount of, you know, grip and least amount of slippage for your product, or we'll be just making the as rigid and as easy as possible, and then adding a material around it, like a ring, you know, a Delrin ring, not that material or anything like it, but something like a rubber, like something a very nice rubber that keeps grip very well. The motor or the rollers are not spring loaded. They're just powered by the pulley. There's bearings on either side of these little pillars, these little arcs, these bearing holders, and it's just like free to move within here. And then, you know, with the right hardware, we can easily attach the pulley system to the end, and it makes things extremely simple, right? One idea that I'm playing with is like, if like one thing that, you know, before I actually lock down specifications of everything and parts sizes and things like that, I'm trying to figure out a way is if there's a way to play with the belt, the pulleys, and the size of the actual rollers in order to get the simplest transition between the drivetrain of the long mill and the drivetrain of this pulley, right? In a perfect world, if we had one-to-one, you wouldn't even need any software to actually make any changes, right? But the way that like rotary roller code is calculated right now within Lightburn, it is taking things like roller diameter, you know, divided by pi times like the length of your design kind of thing. So if there's a way where I can figure things out to get almost like, you know, this many steps on the long mill equals this, like equals 1 millimeter. If I can align that to the long mill, then code for this system becomes extremely simple. You can make your code exactly how you would make it in Lightburn, export it to GSender, and run it exactly like that. No changes, no nothing. Koala, that's like the more expensive rotary axis that's being worked on right now. Yeah. So that's why will be the lower cost, simpler version of how, like, if you want a rotary, then yeah, this will be the lower cost. Rollers are obviously way less expensive than a lathe system, like a proper chuck-based rotary axis, which is what the other team of engineers is working on, and they have something really cool. It works really well, and they're just working on getting everything aligned. But yeah, if you're not, you know, if you're not trying to do any jobs with the chuck and the router, and you just want, you know, let's say you make mugs at home, or let's say you make tumblers at home, and you're only looking to use the laser, you just need something to use the laser for, then this will be the product for you. It'll be a lot cheaper, and yeah. Yeah, exactly. Oh, rock tumbler and a roller system. Oh, I'll take a look at that. Yeah, exactly. So things like very simple. Let's say, you know, you got wine glass. We were able to pretty easily like engrave glass with our laser, like something like this. You just probably wouldn't want to put in a chuck system if this is all you make. If you make stuff like similar to this, or rollers, like tumblers and things like that. Yeah, Bucky, you make videos, but you also make a whole lot of other stuff and cool projects. I think I just saw your cutting board with the instructions lasered on the cutting board. Was that you, Dana, or Koala? I'm not sure because I saw it on Instagram. But yeah, that stuff is really cool. If you haven't checked out Bucky's Customs videos, click on his name, go check out his YouTube video. Great tutorials and project ideas and all around. Great YouTube channel for long mill and CNC and software like that. But yeah, this is just going to be for simpler products. If you just want to use a laser, then, you know, obviously if you want the chuck system, we do plan on releasing it at the same time. So there shouldn't be any funny stuff where you're like, oh, I would have ordered the chuck if I knew that it was coming out. Like, no, there will be available at the same time. So if that more robust system for router work is what you need, and you also want to do maybe laser stuff on the side, then yeah, that's a great option. But you know, if you're just like, hey, I need to spend as little money as possible, and I have these like projects for glassware, cups, tumblers, things like that, and I'm only doing laser work on them, then this is going to be a great product. Yeah, and then, yeah, that's not going to be the end. I kind of have a roadmap of like all the little add-ons that I want to release this year, which is like crosshair system, air ventilation system, magnetic mount, and I believe there's one more that's escaping my mind right now. But yeah, this year for me is the year of the add-ons for the laser to make the laser a more robust add-on for the long mill. Yeah, this design I will have ready. Yeah, that's a great question, Jack. How many of you guys do have 3D printers? Because yeah, I have a 3D printer on my coffee table, and yeah, turning the laser on without it burning would be awesome. Dana has a 3D printer. That's cool. Guys, 3D printer is just great for prototyping. You know, as you can see, like just parts like this where I just want to see how all the parts interact and work. You know, it's great to just kind of throw something on the printer and let it run. And like things like this where you want to space out like bearings and the pulleys and things like that. It's like great for this kind of stuff. So yeah, so like this I was working on just to make sure all the fits would work for like things like the actual physical hardware. So, you know, instead of waiting for a machine shop to get back, if I want to machine this, I just throw it in the 3D printer and then go on from there. And that's kind of how like this design kind of came to be, was just like I had a simple idea, I mocked it up, and then slowly I started adding like all the hard parts like pulleys, hardware, bearings, things like that, and making sure everything fit in the end. I do have an Ender 3, but I did an exchange program with CNC because I wanted to be able to prototype this on a little bit better of a printer, just for things like, you know, aligning the build plate for your first layer and things like that. So yeah, I do like the Prushas. The Prushas are very nice for quick stuff like that, because they do have a couple different sensors and things like that for calibrating that make my life a little bit easier when I'm just kind of like okay, design something, print it, see if it works. Design something, and that kind of workflow. Yeah, that's great, Jack. That's exactly why I love them so much. Yeah, yeah. The work that's a work in progress, guys. I know I needed it, but I just started throwing things together today in terms of this like support, like the length support. So it depending on the size of the part, I want it to be able to adjust this way, and I also need it to adjust the height, because it's not just a length support. It's also like it's also supposed to align your products to be kind of straight on or flat. So that I just started, so you know, you can make fun of me for that. It's not the best looking thing. I just like 3D printing things for function first, and then worrying about how they kind of look and everything like that after. So, you know, it's all about like aligning, like, you know, let's say I had like 2 Delrin V wheels here, and, you know, aligning it to the actual roller height, and then allowing that, you know, system. So like right now, the rollers are smaller than the arc in this, which should change. I only made it that way because right now I'm adding tape on the outside to actually make it grip better. But eventually that will be like a rubber, you know, almost like a rubber cover, or I'll make the actual material straight out of rubber, or things like that. You DIY'd your laser out of Fluid NC. I don't know what that is. F8. I don't know what that Fluid NC is. It sounds cool though. Corey XY laser. Oh, I'll check that out later. That sounds cool. But yeah, if you guys have any ideas, please let me know, because this is the time where, things are going to change drastically, and then as time goes on over the next month or in April, things are going to get solidified, like the size of the rollers, the material for the rollers, design changes for manufacturability, and then we're going to be moving on to making sure our suppliers are sending us high quality parts, and then figuring out all the nitty gritty. Damn, that's really cool. I had a blast prototyping lasers in the early days. I was always scared something was going to explode or set on fire, but once I kind of got comfortable with the idea of lasers, it was a blast kind of playing with that and DIYing that. So that's really cool to hear. No cutting corners. Nope. Honestly, if I wanted to cut corners, my other design was was perfect. Please try to make the rotary in red. Bill, thank you. You're the best. Yes, please like the video, like the video, like the video. I appreciate you guys already, but I'll appreciate you. Daryl, the chuck will be a different product that's going to be released at the same time. It'll be more robust. It'll be made for the router, and also be made for the laser. It'll be it'll be more expensive, but we will have a comprehensive chuck rotary axis. This is just something that I wanted to put out just for the hardcore laser users who don't use the router much and who don't need to use a chuck for the router. Thank you, Koala. Thank you, Bill. Like the video. Thank you. You guys are the best. You guys are honestly the best. Yeah, so things like how I'm going to be tensioning things, how the final design of the support is going to go, how we're going to be zeroing how we're going to be aligning the X and Y, and also how we're going to be finding midpoint for a project. Yeah, no problem. This is honestly fun for me. It gets me out of my little cave and gets me talking to you guys so I could actually hear the real life feedback on the product that I released and the product that our company has released over the years. So it's great to actually chat with you guys and do this. And these last two streams have honestly been so calming, because it's just there doesn't need to be this whole project, or even the last 5 streams, because with the metal stuff, it didn't end up working out, which I didn't like, because, we all like to, when we start something, we like to hope for the best results. But I've been liking these streams because it's just less pressure to get a project done, do somewhat of a light burn tutorial every week, and then, get out with something physical that actually, looks good or works or something like that. So it's been cool. Some of my favorites have been the stamp. I loved, being able to engrave the glass and stuff like that with my first rotary prototype. But, Andy gave me this idea for days where, things, projects aren't coming to mind, or let's say, I'm not feeling my best and I want to stream from home to keep this, every other Thursday schedule. Then, I could just bring you guys along for the 3D printing or the 3D modeling and designing aspect of what I do, right? So I have no problem with that. It is a little bit, reserved, because I know I'm not the best designer, guys. I don't have the best, design engineering workflow. So, but I do. Thank you, Bill. I appreciate that. I really do kind of put a lot into the customer service, and so do other people here working at CNC Labs. So it's always good to hear, when you guys are enjoying the customer service and or getting your problem solved, because that's what it comes down to. You call us with needing some information or having an issue, and we just hope that we can solve it. Koala. Don't worry. I'll talk to the marketing team about the tags. Yeah, so one of the engineers also had a great idea. If we wanted to simplify this design down even further, we could even do a magnetic mount, right? We can have magnets kind of plugged into the base piece, and then have a magnet on the other side of this bearing holder, and then have it just like plug into the socket, and then maybe tilt and pull to remove it off the magnet, and then kind of plug into the socket, right? So that was also a pretty good idea that honestly wouldn't overcomplicate things too much, and then does kind of simplify things on your end, rather than even though it is just having to unscrew, like if you did want to change the width, it's you unscrew one, you unscrew two, and then you can move it along wherever you need it to be. But magnets would be a cool idea. But I did want to kind of keep the overall height of this as low as possible so that you had as much Z-axis variance, even though I will have to make an adapter plate for the laser that raises the mount from aligned with the router mount to like almost like the top of the router mount, so that you guys can actually get the full kind of Z height. Oh, congratulations, F8. We got a newly initiated long mill purchaser. So hopefully you get it as soon as possible, or you already have it, and hopefully you have some fun with it. If you have any issues, we have a great customer support team. So just call and email, and we'll be here to help. Ah, that is true. That is true. Yeah, Laser 314. That is good to keep in mind, because yeah, that would help you kind of find where the midpoint is. Unfortunately, with the long mill, I could not do anything. We've been pumping out machines since like before Christmas. You guys have been honestly so great with the support, the MK2, and it's keeping us busy. And yeah, we're looking at expanding. Looking forward to the Ikenna merch. Andy, sometime during the initial product launch of the laser, Andy actually did make us merch. So he did make me like laser Ikenna merch, which was great. It was one of the best things ever, because I was kind of just starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel, and he made these great ones that had a quote. It was like, "Never ending product development hell." And it was a picture of me and the LaserBeam logo, and it was honestly great. I have two, one for me and one for my mom, and it was a great moment, because he didn't tell me about it. It was kind of just the perfect timing of like, just the acknowledgement of like, yes, like you're going through hell right now, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and it was great. It was honestly one of the best things, and like everybody in the office got one, and yeah, it was great. Andy and Chris really are the best bosses you could ever ask for. Oh, that's so cool to hear. Guys, I'm not making any promises, but we will be buying a laser tube, a CO2 like 60-watt laser tube to start for fun. I'm gonna say for fun. We're buying the laser tube to start playing around with some ideas. Nothing is concrete. I know every time I say that, people are still gonna be like, wait, so when is it coming out? But no, nothing is concrete. This is just kind of intellectual curiosity for now, because we want to kind of see, starting with the MK2 as kind of our base platform, can we easily kind of build out a CO2 laser using that platform? Just for, at worst case, we'll use it for internal use. Koala. Is this all my merch? Is this the merch taglines? In a world full of followers, be a laser CNC operator who leads. Yes, I do love that. Precision is not just an act, it's a habit. Ooh, that one hits. R&D right off business dinners. Maybe one day, maybe one day. I love the guitar. I love all the guitar love. Thanks for the lenses. Derek, no problem. We appreciate you. Yeah, Scott, like previously before, Andy has made guitars. I used to make guitars when I was when I was younger. I made my first guitar when I was like 12 years old. So it's so cool. And I literally had to hand saw, and I broke my acoustic guitar to use the neck and everything. So it's so cool to see, like, with the long mill, how easy it is to custom build a guitar. Scott, who's like our main social media video guy. You see him all the time, everywhere on the YouTube and all the videos. He makes guitars too. He loves making guitars. So it was just like synergy, where it was like, boom, this is an awesome project, and they love doing it. So they made a bunch of cool content about it. Thank you, F8. We appreciate it. We do appreciate it. Yeah, no, it's great. Like everything about this company, I think is great. There's not a thing I don't love, honestly. Like we're encouraged to move fast. We're encouraged to take our time and build quality products. We're given the resources to do it all. And anytime I run into a problem, I can go to any one of the people who could help me, and they're like always willing to help. Obviously, there's certain times where people really need to be on their own kind of thing, getting their own work done. But like, there's never been a time where I needed help and like nobody was there to help me, whether it came to like any type of design thing or any type of operations thing. Like there was never a time where somebody wasn't like, hey, I'm willing to help you with your issue. And I hope vice versa. I encourage everybody here that they can always reach out to me. And it's nice to see that you guys kind of like, you like it and you mess with us, the ethos, the soul of our company. Yeah, those were some good ones. Those are some precision. Precision is not just an act, it's a habit. That one hits. Might need to make some merch with that one on it. That would be a road trip, knowing Canadian weather, it'll probably be extremely sunny and a snowstorm at least 7 different times by the time you get here. Ooh, a steel guitar. That would be heavy. What would be cool to build kind of like a almost like a metal, like guitar that's like an exoskeleton, that just has like the shell and everything. That would be cool. You guys are the best. Okay, guys, any ideas that I should keep in mind when I'm finalizing design, when I'm finishing things? Obviously, quality number one. Reasonable price, yes. Making sure the belts are always tensioned, or you have the ability to add more tension to it, yes. What else is there? Making sure that you can square your X and Y axis so that you're not off. Making sure that it's easy to find your center point for when you're trying to align your laser to the job, things like that. What else is there? The base should be non-skid. Could you elaborate on that? Non-skid, what does non-skid mean? Maybe I'm being dense right now. Yes. Yes. So the torque that the motor creates in no circumstance should be able to move the actual system at all, right? Because the motor has some weight to it and it's going to be creating some torque there. Daryl, I actually have thought of trying to do a lead screw to drive it. I really have thought of that because it almost it aligns it aligns the drivetrain of this more closely to the drivetrain of the actual long mill, which keeps the software, even simpler. So I have been playing with the idea. It just does complicate things a little bit more in other ways. So it's been like a constant, if I finish this and I feel like there's more I could upgrade to, then I'll do a V3 and I'll continue it. But damn, Daryl, it is a good idea I've been playing with. Little mounting tabs so it could be mounted to the spoiler board repeatedly. Yes, so there's belts do slip a lot. That is true. But there's two kind of things with the mounting tab, because like I was talking about with the chuck rotary axis, there's going to be a macro for when you first set things up that will, automatically screw your holes for you to make sure everything's aligned, which we could do the same thing, but I like the whole point of the laser is that you don't have to have things mounted. Well, not the whole point, but one of the benefits of the laser is that you don't have to mount things permanently with the laser, right? So I like being able to just throw a piece in, get it aligned, and then just run it, and then I can move it later. Because there's no actual force being put on the actual material, you don't have to worry about mounting things down to the wasteboard. So for me, I was thinking more of something that gets you to align things, but then you don't actually have to move it. And I think it works in tandem with Bucky's idea of having the base be super non-slip. So as long as the base isn't going to be slipping and sliding about, and you have some way to align the X and Z axis, I almost don't see a point to mounting it. Like I might as well maybe look into adding something permanent, just because, for people who, maybe they're doing a production run of an item and they want to, keep everything in the same spot and run it 50,000 times, then maybe. Koala, thank you very much. Your support is always welcomed and appreciated. You're the best. You have a good night. Optional T-track tabs. That is a good idea. Okay, I will keep that in mind. I would love to kind of make it in a way that it works well with the other rotary axis, right? Because that one is made to be mounted, properly in a way that you can leave it there if need be, because that does need the rigidity while the project is going, or else you'll get some bad results. But maybe there is something I can add. Everybody say goodbye to Koala. He's the best. He's the greatest. Yeah, that's something to keep in mind. So potential things like mount holes, making sure the base is non-slip, things like that. Yeah, that's a good idea. Any other ideas? You guys are having great ideas. You guys are getting my mind thinking about other stuff. So keep them coming. Keep them coming. That's what I want to hear right now. We got about 10 more minutes, and then I will be calling it a night. And I will get back to 3D printing and getting this working. I would love to do a half and half for next time, so that I can let this new prototype run while we are still looking at design and upgrade and things like that to improve, and kind of taking what we see, the real results of the actual working prototype, and upgrading things on the back end. Derek, you're the best. Thank you. We appreciate you coming in for the stream. You have a great night. Take care. Yeah, so that's going to be my goal for the next stream. We're going to have this prototype all built out. We're going to be playing with that. And then while that project is running, put a quick connect close to the rotary. Yeah, quick connect. Let me know what you mean by that. Again, I might be confused. Oh, a quick wire connect. Yeah, that would be pretty cool. So, Nicholas, in terms of cable disconnect, I believe the engineers are working on an adapter that will allow you to keep everything plugged in, like perpetually. Yeah, so yeah, that's what we're working on. I think they are working on a board. I'm not 100% sure. I will get an update from them because we don't want people to have to kind of fiddle with their longboard in order to remove one rotary and add back your y-axis, your y1 or your y2. So I do believe that we're working on a way to essentially add a motor output that almost just takes over, but you don't have to plug it in, plug it out all the time. You probably will have to do it in order to get to switch from one rotary to the other, but we don't imagine many of you guys are going to be buying both rotaries. Doug asks, any idea on leveling for odd-shaped mugs and glasses? So odd-shaped mugs and glasses, that's exactly what this like kind of support tool is going to be for, right? So again, like in the end, these rollers will be higher than the arc here, so nothing should obstruct an object from kind of sitting on the main rollers, and then you use kind of this support tool that will be adjustable, so you can kind of tilt your mug if need be. So even if your item's not that long, you could still put like you could put some like you could put like half of your mug on the actual roller, and then have the end kind of sticking out, so that you could slide this tool in and kind of use that spacer. Align with the two middle feet on the long mill's right side and a spacer. That would be a good idea. That would be a good idea. Yeah, the motor, the wiring might be. That's something to think about. I'll talk to the team because I remember seeing some designs in. I remember seeing some designs in our joint folder that was kind of for the connection issue of not having to constantly unplug a Y motor to then input a rotary. So I'll talk to them. I'll get more information. I'll come back to you guys on that. So yeah, I'll keep that in mind for when I'm talking to them too, because this is going to be. Yeah, I think that's going to make. I want to make things as simple as possible. Bucky's Customs, aka Dana, you're the best. I appreciate everything you do. He's heading out, so everybody say goodbye to Dana. You have a great night, and yes, support the merch. Support the imaginary merch. But in actuality, go support Bucky's Customs YouTube channel, Dana's YouTube channel called Bucky's Customs. He has great information on the long mill, projects, things like that, software, everything. It's great. He's awesome. Go check him out. That is a good idea. So, okay. So, guys, I need to kind of keep things. Things I need to keep in mind would be making sure that the base doesn't slide. Maybe a potential mounting situation so you guys can mount this thing. Figuring out the easiest way to do motor swaps to keep you guys sane and to keep this as simple as possible. Because we don't want you to, every time you want to use it, to have to unplug a bunch of stuff and then go to the back wherever your controller is. So that's I'm going to keep in mind. I'm going to talk to them about making sure that that becomes as easy as possible. And F8, that's a good idea. Kind of keep things. Use the current machine, like the legs or the feet, to kind of find out where the things should get mounted, or use that as kind of a way to align things. That's a good idea. Keep in mind. All right, guys, I'm going to get going in a couple minutes. So if you guys do have any ideas, please let me know. Just throw them in the chat. I'll take a look at them and I'll consider them all for finalizing this design and getting this further in, and then hopefully I'll see you guys in 2 weeks where we're actually playing with the prototype of this, and actually we'll take a look at design as well while we got the thing going for our new project. And yeah, so let me know, guys. We're going to end the stream in a couple minutes, but let me know your last ideas, your shower thoughts on what makes the perfect roller rotary axis. I'm reading, I'm looking at everything. Bill, have a great night. Take care. We appreciate you guys. Wooden Peg, F8, Doug E, Jack in the Shop, Dana's already gone, Koala's already gone. Nicholas, we appreciate everything. We appreciate the support. Definitely give us a like if you have the time. Even if you don't have the time, give us a like. Yeah. Bill, have a great night. Bill S, have a great night. I appreciate that. And Doug, no problem at all. Andy kind of pushed me to do things like this, and it was great. I think it was a great idea. I do like kind of sharing this part with you. You guys are the best. All right. If there's nothing else in chat, I think I'll end it there. Oh, storage case. Okay, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. I'll keep that in mind. It's not too costly. You guys are the best. Laser314, thank you for the analytics. 14 people were watching, 14 likes. That's awesome. I appreciate every single one of you guys. You guys are absolutely the best. I think I'm gonna end it on that note. Guys, I can't even tell you how much I love doing this stream. It's the best, literally. I just kind of get to empty my thoughts on laser products and the company I graciously get to work for. And I appreciate your guys' support on the stream with the product, anything. Even if you didn't buy a product with us, I appreciate you just being interested in this kind of things and showing up to give us some love and watch us talk about CNCs and lasers. So guys, you guys are the absolute best. Daryl, have a great night. Doug, have a great night. Laser314, have a great night. Nicholas, have a great night. Jack, have a great night. Doug, both Bills, Bill Iverson and Bill Stuffer. I'm sorry if I butchered that. Have a great night. You guys are the absolute best. If I forgot your name, don't worry. I still appreciate you. Wooden Peg, have a great night. You guys are the absolute best. I will catch you in 2 weeks with this thing brought to life, this prototype brought to life, and hopefully we'll get back into the design and get back into the prototyping. We'll try to hold both worlds. We'll keep both worlds going. So you guys have a great night. Thank you for the support, and take care. This has been LaserBeam episode number 16. Wherever you are, whether it's morning, afternoon, evening, or night, I appreciate you spending an hour with me. My name is Ikenna. I work for CNC Labs, and